Hey, what's up guys? This thing falls over every 3 seconds. This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Peter B. Parker, part of the Spider-Verse batch of figures, part of the Stiltman wave of figures. And most of these Spider-Verse figures have been really solid, and this one is for the most part too. You wouldn't know it by looking at it right now, but it's actually pretty decent. There's some good stuff, a lot of good stuff going on here, and some stuff that's not so good. We're going to talk about all of it, so let's get him off the stand, I guess, and take a closer look. This guy stands about 17 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to 6 3/4 inches. And for the question of the day, how did you feel about the Spider-Man, like core main Spider-Man situation in this movie? Would you have preferred there to be not a bum version of Spider-Man instead? Or what? How do you feel about that? Let me know. Okay, so aesthetically speaking, this guy's probably the least good of the Spider-Verse figures in this wave. However, it's still pretty darn good. He just looks a lot more plasticky with the way they handled the coat and the arms, and it just doesn't have as much depth of quality. That's a hard way to or bad way to describe it. He's less texture, less detail. It just seems a lot more bland. But they did nail the face. I think you probably aren't going to get better than that. If we focus. There you go. I have glue on mine, of course, but otherwise they did a really good job. I think it's a good sculpt. It's a good paint. The spider costume inside is done pretty well. The jacket just seems so plasticky. That's what throws me off. Pants as well seem very plasticky. Obviously, they did do the shoes, which are okay, I guess. I don't remember him having these kind of like bare ankles showing. That's a little strange, but it's okay. It's not bad by any means, and it's just not as good as the other one. So I'll give it a 7. It's pretty good in the aesthetic department. For accessories, we have an alternate head, which does have the Spider-Man mask on the top of his head, which is pretty cool. He comes with the 2 loose, ungloved hands in the package. Then we have 2 fist hands and 2 thwipping hands with the spider clothing. And then we also have a beverage. So that's not a bad batch of accessories. It's nothing particularly good, but it should be enough, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. As for the articulation on this guy, he can look up pretty well. That needs to go. I hate it when stuff is on camera. Okay, so that's pretty good. He can look up just fine. He can look down just fine. A little bit of odd placement the way the neck is, but it's pretty darn good. It'll do. You get a little bit of attitude. Shoulders, they go better than horizontal, so that's pretty good. You get your full rotation, bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow technically, but I can only make one of them work. On both sides, the bottom joint is completely stuck, so that blows. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. They pop out a little bit too easily if you ask me. Diaphragm joint on this guy technically works, but because of the jacket, you really can't use it. And we also have a ball peg down here, but again, because of the jacket, you're limited in what you can do. Going back is pretty much nothing. Side to side, very limited. Forward works the best, and it's only okay. So that's kind of a bummer. For the hips, they work pretty well. You'll be able to get them out to the side pretty far. Going forward, not a real issue. That's pretty much okay. No back. You do get a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee. Let's see if it works. It does work. Took a lot of force and almost ripped the ankle out, so be aware of that. These pinless joints so far have not really impressed me. Most of the time they're stuck or loose. So, not good so far. You do get a boot swivel, so to speak, and mine is now completely loose. Like there's a gap there and I can't do anything about that, so that's good to know. And anyway, these parts are very floppy. Not loose joints, but the plastic itself is soft, and that's why he kept falling over. And then when you have a little bit of the ratchet down here, you have limited posability, so I had a heck of a time getting him to stand on that display stand. The range is technically there, and that's fine, but these joints are just not great, and then the plastic itself is not great. So this one does not like to stand on his little baby feet and skinny ankles, so be aware of that. So articulation on this guy is pretty only okay, so 6 out of 10 for that. Final verdict on this guy, definitely the weakest of the Spider-Verse figures, probably because he was the worst character in the movie, by my measure. But it's okay, it's still fine, it's just not particularly good. I'll give it an overall 7 out of 10. For a Marvel Legends figure, I think you're gonna be just fine with it. Just be aware of those issues, and then you won't have to worry about them. So there it is, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.